to what extent do we want to seek the validation of others? To what extent do we need the validation of others? And it's very tricky because in creative fields, if you're creating stuff and nobody's consuming, the question is, what are you creating for? Like, who are you creating for? Why is nobody fucks with your shit? Why are you still doing it? This is another episode of Honest Conversations, and on today's episode, I kind of just want to talk about something that happened yesterday while I was on Clubhouse, singing with a couple of friends. So one of my friends was narrating an experience or a terrible experience he felt like he had in some other group. So basically, there are lots of these groups on Clubhouse where you come on and you perform whatever song you have. They're usually like music or karaoke groups. You come on, you perform whatever song you have in mind to the audience, and afterwards people show appreciation, provide feedback, follow you, try to collaborate with you if they want to, and stuff like that, right? And he was talking about how one of the groups he had been in where somebody had performed very excellently, like very well, and the moderator, instead of like giving room for appreciation or even showing any appreciation at all, was just like, oh, thank you very much, now we'll move on to the next person. And he felt like that person did not get enough appreciation for the work they did, for that performance. They didn't get enough commendation for how good it was. And I started thinking about that because I've thought about this previously as someone who is a creative, as someone who applies themselves creatively to any field, be that singing, dancing, being a makeup artist, or anything like that. To what extent do we want to seek the validation of others? To what extent do we need the validation of others? And it's very tricky because in creative fields, if you're creating stuff and nobody's consuming, the question is, what are you creating for? Like, who are you creating for? Why is nobody fucks with your shit? Why are you still doing it? And that's the way we think about it. I see a similar like pattern in startups. You're like, it is for the user, and if the user does not appreciate it, whatever you're doing makes no sense. But to me, I think the important question is it really that way? Can you just say, the user doesn't appreciate it, so it's trash? They didn't commend you, so that's a bad thing? You feel some kind of way? And so that got me to a conversation I have always been wanting to have, or something I've always been thinking about, basically, and it's about what is the reward for a modern creative? In what ways can you reward a creative? And the first, most common, most basic form, which we've seen people use rather exploitatively, is exposure, right? You can reward a creative with exposure. So in your early years, when you're starting out, you really want to be seen. You want to get in front of other brands, bigger brands, other people. So people tend to want to pay you in exposure. And for the most part, you seek it in many ways. And at that point, you're not really disturbed by it because you feel like you have to trade something to get something. And generally, I can understand that why that is the case. I can understand how that may be true. Even for yourself as the creator, you are in that space where you just want to get started in this field. Like, I've been learning this for a while, and now I want to really apply what I have learned. I just need an opportunity. I don't need to be the most paid. In fact, don't pay me at all. We see that happen a lot of times with unpaid internships and things like that. And people get there. So the first thing, obviously, is exposure. People want that. But then the next thing, what do you want once you get exposure? For most people, that becomes money, right? You want to make as much money as possible. You want to be paid the industry standard. In fact, with each client, you're trying to go higher. You're trying to go higher. So you're looking for money. I guess, and money, understandably, money is so important because if you don't get the money, you can't feed your creative cycle. First of all, you die of hunger. So like, the money is needed to keep you as a creative in order to also enhance the creative cycle, buying the assets you need, buying the tech you need, buying whatever you need in order to maybe also be courses so that you can keep learning. So money, yes, a very essential part of the creative process. Now, let's say we've gone past that. You've gotten exposure, you've gotten money. What comes next? Now, the third thing for a number of people becomes becoming authority. Like, you want to be known as the one that did it, like the one that is known for this particular thing. It's like, she's a wedding makeup artist. Any wedding, don't play with that lady. Or you want to be, oh, he's this guy. This guy design. Any mobile app, leave it to this guy. Or oh, this guy, he's a very great software engineer. Just give him your stuff and he does it. So whatever the case may be, she writes, she this, she that. You want to stand out. You want to be someone that people reference as a standard for the things you do. And at that point, you're trying to attain some level of mastery in order to get into the books as one of the best that did it. Beautiful, but let's say you get that too. So you've gotten exposure, you've gotten money. Now you've gotten what? You've become authority. What comes next? Now, I think what comes next when you study the pattern, I'm not there yet, obviously. But when I look at the pattern of other people that have done this and have gotten there, very easily what comes next to them is impact. They want to, in some way, help others now. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all of those people, you find out they've made so much money that at this point, while they are still making money, for a lot of their decisions, money may not be the most important driving factor. For a lot of their projects, they may not even be for profit. They will try to give back to society. They will try to cure malaria. They will try to distribute vaccines and things like that. And yeah, that's the impact stage. You want to, in some way, use your work or the resources that have been born thereof to help other people to impact the rest of the world. So let's say you've gotten exposure, you've gotten money, you've become authority, and now you've impacted the world. What comes next, right? And I keep thinking about things like that. But then, in trying to figure out what that one thing that I value the most is, I began to think about it. All of these things that we have placed a premium of on money, exposure, authority, impact, have more to do with others than us. And in some way, we have tied our existence as creatives to those things. Like, we have tied the satisfaction we derive from our lives as creatives to those things. So I began to think about what is most important to me as a creator, like that is for me. And I eventually came to the point where I realized that what I value most is being able to see that I am not where I was yesterday with my creative process. And what I mean by that is, I think the ability to strongly embody yourself in your work, like the ability to develop yourself continuously to the point where you are satisfied. There's just this satisfaction from making it a thing rather than people loving the thing. The satisfaction from the fact that I had fun recording this episode and I edited it and I put it on YouTube, and this is something I made. This is something that I took from the initial conceptual stage to the final form and putting it out into the world. That has become like the more important thing for me. So a lot of times when I even perform on Clubhouse in those groups, I kind of just sing and sometimes disappear because I don't need the validation. I don't need people to say, oh, you sang beautifully. I know when I sound off and I know when I sound good. And a lot of times when I sound off, those same people still say I sound good. So you could say it's about them, and yeah, that may work for you, but I think that the only thing that becomes about you is how well you are able to embed yourself into your creative work. How well are you how creative can you get with what you're doing? Are you a writer? Are you a singer? How do you introduce your unique elements into whatever you're doing? That has become the most important thing to me. And I realized that by doing that, for the most part, a lot of times, doing that and gaining the clout and all of that is not mutually exclusive. So it's not a situation where if you focus on your craft and you put yourself into the work you're doing, you begin to lose the other things. No. In many cases, which is a win-win situation, you do that and people resonate with what you're doing because of just that ability to bring in unique perspectives, that ability to embed yourself in what you're doing. Like, people see it from it. People are like, yeah, everybody does this, but this guy does it differently. And that's because you're focused on you. Like, you're focused on bringing out the best version of yourself through the work you do. And ultimately, that brings the people to you, which gives you the exposure. Ultimately, it brings others to you, brands and all of that in your emails, people trying to work with you, people trying to make you talk about their stuff and want you to promote them, people trying to promote you. That comes along with money. Authority comes where people come to you for advice. People see you as the all-knowing or seemingly all-knowing one in a particular field. People come to you for, people wait for your opinions on things and really work with them as though they were things from God. You get there eventually, and finally you get to the impact stage as well, where your life, just your ability to have focused on yourself and brought out those quality pieces of work that embody who you are. Just the ability to do that inspires other people, and people are trying to do more. People are telling you stories of how you inspired them, how something you said helped them through something and all of that. But the only reason why all of this came that way for me, or when I think about it, is because you focused on being the best version of yourself. You focused on creating the best form of work you could create as an individual, bringing together your knowledge, your experiences, and your own unique twists, your own creativity, and all of that to it. So I think that's pretty much my idea of like my thoughts around creative reward. I think that we need to focus more on the satisfaction. I did a video once where I said the question should be, if no one was watching, what would you be doing? And once you're able to think about things that way and excellently embed yourself into your work, for the most part, other things come around in time. And yeah, really, that's just my take on the reward of a creative. Should you chase clout or not? I think no. You could focus on what you're doing, and honestly, if you get it right, cloud comes all the same. It will come running. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching this episode of Honest Conversations. I would really want to hear from you, your opinions on this, because this is not something that is a one size fits all. I want to know from you what's most important to you as a creative or as an individual. What's most important to you? People recognizing you, getting some exposure for the work, money, or a blend of all this? Or what would you place? Do you even feel like satisfaction matters? Do you want to feel good about what you are doing, or would you rather just get paid a lot of money for it? Yeah, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is pineapple juice and ginger, pineapple and ginger juice. Yeah, I will tell you where I got it from, but they're not paying me for that. So, but yeah, it's really nice. I got it from Eden Life. Yeah, check them out if you're really interested. But that's it. I'll see you in the next episode.